Well, it's time to move off the back of that chair and get to the edge of your seat for Kentuckiana's most exciting half hour right here on Louisville Speedway's Let's Go Racing. Hi again, everyone. I'm Scott Douglas. Frank Scott joins us in just a moment for all the exciting highlights from last weekend at Louisville Speedway. Don't forget, though, this is the big one. Kroger Granger Select Race of Champions weekend coming up Saturday night at Louisville Speedway. Ernie Irvin, the Harry Gant Farewell Tour, Cale Yarborough, Richard Childress, Jimmy Spencer, Bobby Hillen. They'll all be right here at Louisville Speedway to go racing and to sign a ton of autographs. Gates opening at 5 Saturday night and the autograph session starting at 5:30. This is one of those events of the year that you just can't miss here at Louisville Speedway. We'll plan on seeing you for the action. But we've got a lot of action to show you from last weekend at Louisville Speedway, including the return of the Barks Red Cream Outlaw Figure 8 Series that Super America brought to town, and some big sportsman action on the long track in the Pipe Fitters Local 522 Long Track Classic. It's all coming up right here on Let's Go Racing, so let's get to the action with Frank Scott.
Hello everyone, Frank Scott here at Louisville Speedway, and to say that the weather's hot is putting it mildly. 92 degrees last Friday evening as the races took the green flag here, and I tell you what, some drivers are doing almost anything to try to cope with this warm weather in the Kentuckiana area. For instance, taking a look at the Winston Bush late model driven by Brian Baum on Saturday nights here at Louisville Speedway. And right here in the passenger side rear window of the car, he has a screened vent, and that's a Butler air vent there in the plexiglass window in the quarter panel of the car. What happens is the wind and the air goes into this air scoop on the side of the car, and then it is brought in through about a 3.5 inch, maybe a 4-inch dryer hose, and then it is dedapted, deduced, reduced, and then run through a special cooling box inside the car, and then it runs out of the cooling box into a very small hose, about 1.5 inches in diameter, and into the side of his helmet. So Brian has air conditioning for his head. I don't know what he does with the rest of his body, but a lot of race drivers will tell you if you keep the head cool, the rest of you can drive just fine here at Louisville Speedway. We'll find out who drove just fine last Friday evening when the Pronto Auto Parts Figure 8 division took to the Speedway, along with the Banquet Table Buffet Rookie Figure 8s and the Barks Red Cream Soda. Super America Outlaw Figure 8 Racing Series was also in action, along with the Ken Tyree General Tire Rookie Street Stocks. Let's take a look at the videotape and see who came away as big winners last Friday evening. Taking a look at the 25-lap feature event for the Pronto Auto Parts Figure 8 division. In Figure 8 racing, veteran Larry Holbert, car number 14, leads the field into turns 1 and 2. Is the number 91 of Stacy Kelly, lines up on the outside of him. They pass through the intersection on lap number 1. Chris Harmon in car number 116 pulls to the outside of Kelly to battle for second, with the number 1 of John Basham running fourth, and the number 65 of Keith Stevenson battling side by side with Zeke Skaggs for the 5th place running. Chris Harmon in car number 116, the green car into your picture, got into an early race duel with the number 14 of Larry Holbert racing into turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, breaking into the top 5, Pat Pierce driving car number 59, and the current point leader, Tony Anderson, driving car number 42. Both drivers have a $1,000 bonus headed their way if they could win their 4th feature event of the 1994 racing season. They got into the front of the field early on in the race. But it didn't take too long before last year's Figure 8 champion and this year's current point leader got together going into turns 1 and 2 while battling for the number 4 position. Anderson jumps out ahead of Pierce as they move back into turns 3 and 4. Chris Harmon later pulled up along the inside of Larry Holbert, moving into turns 3 and 4 to battle for the number 1 position. Out of the 4th turn, and it's Harmon out front, Holbert running in second, and Zeke Skaggs running third. A late race caution flag period bunched the field back up, but the green and white flew simultaneously, signaling 1 lap to go in the event. And out front, the green race car. Car number 116, sponsored by Martin Landscaping, as well as G&G Radiator and Oil. And Harmon Service Center, Chris Harmon picks up his first career feature event victory at Louisville Speedway. Next up, Mark's Red Cream Soda at Super America brought us the Outlaw figure 8s to Louisville Speedway. And on the front row inside, Dave Staten, driving car number 1 out of Louisville, Kentucky, brought the field down for the start of the event. Racing into turns 1 and 2, the number 30 of John Perkins, also of Louisville, moves into the number 2 position as they race through the intersection. A few laps later, car number 4, Bruce Tunney, out of Indianapolis, Indiana, made this pass around the outside of the number 32 of Preston Maxwell to take over 3rd place. Following the first caution flag period, Bruce Tunney in car number 4 took the lead away from the number 1 machine of Dave Staten, as well as John Perkins following in close pursuit. The number 41 of Buddy Vertrees moves up into the number 3 position. But then a multi-car accident occurred going into the first turn, bringing the field back under yellow. The field lined up once again for a restart with Tunney in car number 4 taking over the number 1 position. Doug Gregg moving up to 2nd. The number 1 of Dave Staten challenged on the outside by car number 41, Buddy Vertrees. His Mean Green machine established a new track record during qualifications for the Outlaw figure 8 cars, and he started well back in the field, but he's up to the top 5 right now as they move back into turns 1 and 2. 3rd place, as a matter of fact. Eventually, Vertrees dispatched of the number 33 of Doug Gregg and then went to war with car number 4, Bruce Tunney, as they race into turns 1 and 2. Vertrees tries the low line, but then tucks back in line, and as you can see, that intersection's getting very busy. Just as it appeared that Vertrees had Tunney in his sights, a very busy intersection forced Vertrees to slam on the brakes, and he gave up the number 2 spot momentarily to Doug Gregg as the pair raced into turns 1 and 2. But Buddy Vertrees recovers the run in the number 2 spot, and a lot of ground to make up on Bruce Tunney, the race leader. Another caution flag period, and Buddy Vertrees was right back at it again with Bruce Tunney. Racing out of turn number 4, and the number 41 moves into the number 1 position. Into turns 1 and 2, Bruce Tunney in the number 4 machine, and then Doug Gregg rounding out the top 3. For the remainder of the event, the number 41 of Buddy Vertrees remained in the number 1 position. Even open track racing or heavy traffic did not yield Tunney an opportunity to take the lead away. And the number 41, sponsored by AAA Carpet Cleaning, Pro Crafters Race Car Parts, and Vertrees Sign Company, Buddy Vertrees comes away back-to-back victories in Outlaw figure 8 competition at Louisville Motor Speedway in 1994. Taking a look at the feature event for the Banquet Table Buffet Rookie Figure 8 Division, and the 010 moving into turns 1 and 2 is the early race leader, David Green. Running at 2nd, it's the number 03 of Larry Clemens Jr., while the number 151 of Dewey Ferris, along with the number 83 of Darren Greenwell, and the number 98 of Mike Mullins, chase down the race leaders. Eventually, the race leader, David Green, fell by the wayside, leaving the number 03 of Larry Clemens Jr. and the number 151 of Dewey Ferris to battle for the number 1 position. Ferris in the 151 used another textbook move, switching up to the inside and making the pass on the race leader, Larry Clemens, to take over the number 1 position, just like he did in the feature event 1 week ago. And for the most part, Dewey got the same results, collecting his 2nd feature event victory in the Banquet Table Buffet Rookie Figure 8 Division. Dewey Ferris in car number 151. In the Ken Towery Auto Care General Tire Rookie Street Stock first feature event, and car number 99, Lynn Bunch, made this pass around the outside of Brett Spooner to take his Art Sign Racing Buick Electra 225 to victory last Friday evening. In the 2nd feature event for the Rookie Street Stocks, it's the number 018 of Cleet Chapman making this pass on the outside of David Clevis to take away the number 1 position, and he cruises to victory for Plucky Bob's Custom Boats as well as Kentucky Engine Rebuilders. Last year's Louisville four-wheel drive Rookie of the Year in the Sportsman Division, Jerry Lee's just had his engine jump to life here, and about close to upwards to about 500 horsepower is ready to go out here on the Speedway here at Louisville Speedway. We'll show you the highlights and racing results from Saturday evening here at Louisville Motor Speedway as these sportsman cars took to the long track. But Scott Douglas caught up with one of our top racing talents here at Louisville Speedway, and he had a word with him.
One of the neat things about the NASCAR Winston Busch late model division at Louisville Speedway is the unique array of drivers. And not only are we talking about from their normal walks of life or from their relative experience, but even the age of the drivers. You've got some of the most experienced and talented drivers in the area who've been at this game for a long time. But yes, some of the most talented drivers are pretty new to it, up and coming, and guys that we're going to hear a lot from for a long time to come. And one of those is Todd Robinson, the driver who has been around for a while in the late model division. But Todd, it looks like it just keeps getting better and better, and you guys look as strong as you've ever been here.
Yeah, the team's coming together real well, Scott. Everybody's working together, and I'm relaying messages to my brother, the crew chief, on what needs to be done to the car. I've got a pretty good feel for it now, and just a matter of me telling him what the car's doing and him making the changes to correct the problems.
Todd, we talk about you being a young driver, but you've been behind the wheel of something for a long time. Tell us how you got started, how long you've been at different forms of racing.
Well, I started out in the sportsman division at Sportsdrome, and we kind of got our feet wet there. Of course, my dad drove for years, and we always helped him out and got a little bit of the racing fever together there. And we started in the sportsman division and had quite a bit of success. 10 years ago, when I was 20 years old, we started. And Jim's been my crew chief, ever since we started. So now 10 years later, we're working together pretty good.
We talk about you being a young guy in terms of some of these fellows who've been at it a long time. But you look at a guy like a Winders and a guy like a Kimmel, and they've earned their piece of that racetrack. Does it take a while to get a little respect from those guys?
Yeah, Scott, it sure does. When I first came into late models, I didn't want to upset anybody. I wanted to show them I could run door to door with them and not, tear anything up. And yeah, it takes a little while to get some respect, but I think first year, opening night, I run 5th. First time ever in a late model, and we run door to door, never touched. And I think they know I can drive a race car.
This long track has presented some unique situations for you as a driver and your team in terms of setup. How do you like the long track?
I love it. I wish we could run on it every week. You can keep your momentum up. You don't have to run down the corner and stop it, turn it around, and then stomp the throttle. You can keep your momentum up and get, I just got a real good feel for long tracks. At Salem, I run good. And I just like to keep the momentum up. I hate running down in there and stopping and turning around and going the other way,
What are you guys looking to do as far as the rest of the year goes? Obviously, you're in a good points position, but I know every time you get behind that wheel, you're trying to get to victory lane.
Absolutely. Yeah, we really feel like we're going to be awful strong the last 3/4 or half of the year. We had a few problems at the beginning. We had some brake problems that was really hurting us, and then the rear end got bent, and we had a Detroit locker in there, and the locker was unlocking and locking it at different times, and it just wasn't consistent lap after lap. Then we went and straightened the rear end and put a spool in it, and now it's positive traction. And when we make a change on the car, you can really tell it. I mean, whatever the car is doing, it does it lap after lap. So when we adjust on what the car is doing, we're going the right way with it.
And it's been going the right way a bunch. And it takes more than just you. You'll be the first to tell us. Let's take a little bit for a little moment here and let you talk about the other folks who work on the car and help you out, and of course your sponsors.
Yeah, Jim, my brother Robinson, he's been wrenching the car for 10 years, and he works every day on the car and takes a lot of time away from his family, Tina and the kids, and my wife. I have to thank all of them. And then I got Jim McKim and Frank McKim, who really help every week on it. Then my dad, the car's at his shop, so Dad's out there every night working on the car. It takes a full effort from 4 or 5 guys. Jim Adamson with W.R. Martin, he's got a real good knowledge of race cars. He knows what to do. He knows how race cars are, and racing as a whole is, some nights you win and some nights you don't. And I like that kind of sponsorship. Call's Body Shop, they help me out every year since I've been in late models. They really support me and back me, and I can't say enough about it. They just all behind me 100%.
As you can see, it's a team package. So while sometimes you were getting to think that it might be the Gardner, Kimmel, Metters, and Winder show here at Louisville Speedway, this orange and white car keeps jumping right up there in the middle of them. Keep your eye on Todd Robinson all season here at Louisville Speedway.
So there you have it, one of the top talents here at Louisville Speedway, and Scott Douglas caught up with him here a little earlier this past weekend. Standing alongside the Chevrolet Camaro of Rick Harris, another former Rookie of the Year in the Sportsman Division here at Louisville Motor Speedway. And the last time the Sportsman cars were on the long track, Rick Harris left the Speedway without the right side of his car. Destroyed the machine in a multi-car accident on the front straightaway. We certainly hope the same thing doesn't happen for Rick when the sportsman cars take to the long track. And to see exactly what happened last Saturday evening, let's take a look at the videotape of the great racing action from the Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman machines, the Winston Bush late models, the Ken Towery General Tire mini stocks, and the All-State waterproofing street stock machines here at Louisville Speedway. We'll move on now to the All-State waterproofing street stock division with the number 092, Mike Lawson, leading the field into turns 1 and 2. The number 290 of Ray Bush runs at second. Pat Knight in the 115 along with Jeremy Lutz battle for the third place spot as they race out at turn number 4. But Knight gets a little crossed up coming out at turn number 4 down the front straightaway and then heads into the outside retaining wall after connecting up with another car. Kelly Smith in the 058, who started back in the pack some, began making his way towards the front. He started back in the field by virtue of being number 2 in the point standings, but began racing down positions just as soon as possible. Dennis Allgaier in the 015 challenged the race leader Mike Lawson on several occasions. However, a front tire going flat on his machine sent him back to the pit area early in the race. And on the final lap of the event, the 092 of Mike Lawson, sponsored by Suburban Towing and Recovery, as well as Mass Tire and Automotive, and the car is also sponsored by Stouts Pick Pack, picks up his first feature event victory of the 1994 racing season. Kelly Smith finished well up into the top 5 in the positioning, and he recovers the point lead from Debbie Bartley. In the Winston Bush late model feature event, the 40-lap contest on Pipe Fitters Local 522 night, and the brand new color schemes and sponsors for car number 5, Bill Johnson, take over the lead moving into turns 1 and 2 with Larry Metters pulling up along the inside of Jim Bartley to battle for second. Bill Kibble Jr. inside the top 5, as was Chuck Winders. Eventually, Metters, Kimmel, and Joe Williamson Jr. got around Bill Johnson to take command of the race. Side by side here coming out of turn number 4, Bill Kimmel Jr. and Larry Metters touch just a bit. Metters goes into the number 1 position. Both Kimmel and Metters were sidelined due to an accident, which we're saving for the greatest hits of the week portion of our program. That brought up Todd Robinson and Bill Johnson battling for the number 1 position. And Bill Johnson moving into the number 1 spot now with Todd Robinson at second, and Joe Williamson Sr., that evening's fastest qualifier, had a $1,200 bonus on the line if he could come away with the feature event victory and claim the right way grinding saw and tool clean sweep bonus. Later, Todd Robinson overtook Bill Johnson around the outside to take over the number 1 spot. Carl Wheeler in car number 34 eventually moved into the number 2 spot, but after he and Keith Gardner made contact in the second turn, Gardner took over the number 2 position with Joe Williamson Sr. coming up to 3rd. Todd Robinson still the race leader. And out front is where Todd Robinson of New Albany, Indiana, kept his Call's Body Shop, W.R. Martin Machinist, Duratec Racing Engines, and Sammy O's Tavern Racing Buick, and collected the feature event victory. Race action now from the Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman 30-lap event on the long track. In pole position center at the number 3 of Rick Harris paced the field throughout the first part of the event. Scott Toohey in car number 38 moves into the second place spot. Highview, Kentucky's Mike Crecilius, car number 28 to the left of your picture. There at third place, Rocky Stice runs 4th, and the number 94 of Jeff Stiff tries to hold on to 5th as they move on to the front straightaway. Jeffersonville, Indiana's John Collins put on a show, racing on the outside of Rocky Stice for the number 4 position on several occasions in the 30-lap feature event. Some of the top talent in this division was knocked out in an early race accident in the 4th turn. We're saving that for the greatest hits of the week portion of the program as well. Well, Rick Harris, driving car number 3, pretty much led the event from wire to wire. Sponsored by Chardine Mechanical, Delta Electric, Coop Construction Company, and Pipe Fitters Local 522. And how fitting to win on Pipe Fitters Night at Louisville Speedway. Kentucky's Billy Young scored a victory in the A feature for the Ken Towery General Tire Mini Stock Division, driving the Cliffs Auto Color Vernon Moody's Racing Ford Pinto. Mark Mattingly won the B feature for the Street Stock Division, driving the Tune-Up 2000 Louisville Mill Supply Racing Oldsmobile. And winning the C feature for the Street Stocks, car number 0. Dale Puckett in the American Cable Programming, Ohio Valley Ready Mix, and Dunaway Electric Company Racing Chevrolet. And collecting the victory in our final event Saturday evening at Louisville Speedway, Marshall Jaggers driving car number 91, the B feature for the Ken Towery General Tire Mini Stock Division. The car sponsored by Star Ford at Oxmoor, Dow Shoe Service, Eastview Auto Parts, and Custom Body Refinishers. We hope you enjoyed the racing action this past half hour here. And I tell you what, we've seen a lot of great race winners this past weekend at Louisville Speedway. Congratulations going out to the driver of the Mean Green Machine, of Buddy Vertrees, as well as all the top finishers in the races last weekend. But there can only be one Field Premium Meats Top Dog of the Week award winner. And for that, let's go to Scott Douglas.
Time now to honor the top racing performance of last weekend at Louisville Speedway as we hand out the Field Premium Meats Top Dog of the Week award. Wait a minute. Let's say Top Dogs of the Week award, as we've got a tie this week, and deservedly so, because several guys put in great performances, but these two seem to rise to the top. First of all, Chris Harmon on Friday night grabbing his first Pronto Auto Parts Figure 8 feature. He's one of our Field Top Dogs of the Week. And Todd Robinson, who won his second late model feature of the year with an outstanding run on Saturday. So congratulations to Chris Harmon and Todd Robinson, the Field Premium Meats Top Dogs of the Week.
Well, not everybody can be a Top Dog of the Week award winner, and in some cases, some drivers made a little contact out on the racetrack this past weekend, which brings us to the Greatest Hits of the Week portion of our program, and we'll find out whose race car didn't leave the racetrack so pretty like Roland Isaac's late model. From the Pronto Auto Parts Figure 8 division, moving over to turn number 4 in the heat races last Friday evening. And Chris Harmon tangles with the number 1 of John Basham. Then Zeke Skaggs and car number 6 at Basham get together. From the rookie Figure 8 division, car number 611, Richard Spatz gets spun around over in the second turn area. And then the number 80 goes on a spin. Ray Logsdon connects up with the number 03 of Larry Clibbins Jr. and the number 44 of Doug Burba. Talk about a way to finish a race. Watch the number 115 of Martin Brown slide through the intersection across the finish line, and he just gets the car stopped in time before making some minor contact with the front stretch wall. During Outlaw Figure 8 racing action, and at the intersection, the 87 of Charles Cole spins around, then the 99 of Scott Box, Preston Maxwell, and then Jerry Bronner in car number 88 collects Maxwell's automobile. No one injured in this accident. The going gets rough for the current point leader, the number 23 of Danny Smith, as the number 114 of Mike Russ gets together with Bernie Morris, and then the 23 of Smith tangles with Russ in the third turn. As a matter of fact, the current point leader, Danny Smith, had a terrible night. Got into a second fracas over in the third and fourth turn area, and this time the right rear tire comes apart on the car and it sidelines his machine. Rose Brown in car number 036 gets into an entanglement down the third and fourth turn, and then a traffic jam develops during rookie street stock racing action. In Winston Busch late model racing action, and going into turns 1 and 2, Jim Bartley not only spins his car around, but loses the tail end section to his car as well. Mike Askew, driving car number 109, should be penalized for abuse of a trunk lid over at turn number 2, but he penalizes himself by spinning out. Then to add insult to injury, runs over his own trunk lid. We all know the objective when you first begin stock car racing is to finish races, but the objective is to also finish with the rest of the car, as someone's tire rolled across the finish line during one of the heat races. During Winston Busch late model racing action, out of the second turn, Larry Metters gets together with Bill Kimmel Jr. sliding along on the back straightaway, and then the number 14 of Junior Blankenship goes on a long slide before connecting with the outside retaining wall in the third turn area. During some sportsman racing action on the long track, and Reed Boone gets together with Bo Eames going into turn number 4. The number 94 of Jeff Stitt. There's Chuck Winders in car number 8, and that evening's fastest qualifier, Greg Boone, colliding up against the outside retaining wall. A multi-car accident. Fortunately, no one injured, but I tell you what, I can't say the same for several race cars. During mini-stock racing action, the number 71 of Eric Williams got airborne there momentarily after colliding with Mike Freeman and Bob Leander.
Just an awesome weekend of action at Louisville Speedway. You've just seen the highlights, and it gets even bigger and better this weekend. And of course, the highlight is the Kroger Granger Select Race of Champions. And Frank Scott, over the years, the Granger Select Race of Champions has really brought them all here, from the Dale Earnhardts to the Davey Allisons and even the Alan Kulwickis here at Louisville Speedway. What an outstanding field we've got this year.
That's right. We have, of course, the 3-time Winston Cup winner, the championship winner, Cale Yarborough, who'll be substituting for Mike Waltrip, who is unable to attend the event this year because he has the broken shoulder blade, and he's not going to be competing in any non-Winston Cup events. But Cale's a pretty good fill-in, I believe. Of course, we have Harry Gant. He wants to say so long to all the race fans who've supported him through the years, as this is his last year on the Winston Cup Series circuit. Richard Childress, you know all about him, Scott, the car owner for 6-time national champion Dale Earnhardt. And then when you get into the heart of the Winston Cup Series with Ernie Irvan being here, and of course, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer, and Bobby Hillen Jr., another former winner here at Louisville Speedway.
It's going to be quite an event. And again, we want to thank the folks who've been giving away those prestigious and exclusive tickets to the pre-race party tents all week. Our friends at Green Tree Mall have been involved with Harry Gant and that great promotion. Of course, our friends at Montgomery Chevrolet with Richard Childress, Banquet Table in Haviland presenting Ernie Irvan here. Our friends at Jim O'Neill Ford and Town and Country Ford likewise with Jimmy Spencer coming into Louisville Speedway. And of course, it's just been a great weekend coming up. You know, we wait for this one really all year long, and it's one that everybody's excited about. And I can't say enough, if folks want an autograph, they need to be in line when we open those gates at 5 o'clock, because that autograph line fills up awfully fast.
Well, the beauty of the deal is you don't have to go all the way to Charlotte. You don't have to go all the way to Atlanta. You don't have to go all the way to Daytona to meet the Winston Cup Series stars. They're going to be right here at Louisville Speedway.
And of course, we've got the highlights coming for you next week right here on Let's Go Racing. Till then, for Frank Scott, I'm Scott Douglas, and we'll see you at Louisville Speedway.